所带来的精彩内容，请看。
And what better way to segue into this next section? We've talked a little bit about what it's like to use the cloud to find new ways, better ways to build existing applications. One area that's becoming increasingly popular is the use of machine learning, a technology which has been around for 50, 60 years, but has really matured over the last couple of years. Primarily driven through the availability of large amounts of compute to train sophisticated deep learning models in the cloud. But the other thing that's potentially as interesting is just how easy it is to start integrating machine learning into your applications today. For example, just taking a model which could be pre-trained or a model that you trained yourself and just dropping it inside SageMaker, which now offers serverless inference, a new feature we added only last week. That allows you, without having to manage any infrastructure or auto-scaling, it enables you to start delivering predictions from your machine learning models in seconds without any operational overhead. Or delivering ML queries directly inside our databases. For example, you can use Redshift ML to use trained models to select data from your database based on predictions from your machine learning models. So you could, for example, select from a customer database only the customers that were likely to buy a particular product in the next 30 days and use that to drive a marketing campaign. All driven inside the database without having to write any additional code. You just write the select statement as you would with anything else. Or taking rich AI services across a vast variety of modalities like computer vision, language models, personalization, forecasting, search, and many more, and just dropping them in as easily as you would any other API. Or taking the analytics which run inside our business intelligence service, QuickSight, and all of the forecasting and embedded capabilities that use machine learning there, and just quickly and easily taking that whole dashboard, including the forecasts, including the root cause analysis, and just dropping it into any application as easily as you would embed a YouTube video with embedded analytics. Incredibly powerful ways to drive machine learning, not just the modeling, but also the delivery and the integration inside your applications. And speaking of machine learning, under the hood, we're not done innovating there either. In the same way as we were able to develop a general purpose ARM-based CPU with Graviton, we've also been able to develop machine learning-based silicon, which significantly improves both the training time and also the inference speed, cost, and latency of your models. We have AWS Training, which is our training chip, which dramatically speeds up and reduces the amount of time it takes to train your deep learning models, or AWS Inferential, which provides low latency access to your machine learning models predictions running on EC2. These were both custom designed and are available by AWS and are available today. Now, back in the day, maybe 5 years ago, back in the olden days of the cloud, I think it would be reasonable to assume that there was a very kind of region-based approach, that your applications would be uploaded onto one of the AWS regions, and that is where they would run, that's where they would spend the majority of their life. But today, that just isn't the case. Today, you can take the same technologies that we run inside our AWS regions, which are large and built in large redundant ways, but use those same approaches and those same services wherever your application needs to run, pushing it further and further out into the edge, into the real world. For example, you can use AWS local zones, which provide the same database, compute, and storage services that you're used to in our large AWS regions, but builds them into metro areas for very, very low latency access for folks that live there. Or, if you want to take AWS on-premises, using AWS Outposts, we provide physical hardware where you have the exact same control plane, exact same APIs, exact same services, including compute, storage, and databases, but also using machine learning with SageMaker. And you can deliver that wherever you need compute, into your existing data centers, if you're that way inclined, or into physical locations that don't have data centers but need data locality. We also have rugged edge deployments where you can take pieces of physical hardware that have storage and onboard compute and just run those wherever they need to be run. They're ruggedized, they can withstand depth charge explosions. One of my strangest days at AWS was when I approved the purchase of explosives to test our snowball devices to ensure that they were able to withstand explosions. But you can take those storage devices, you can fill up the data quickly wherever that data needs to be housed, and then you can just send it down the road to us and we'll load it into S3 for you. You should never underestimate the bandwidth of a FedEx truck loaded full of hard drives. Or, if you want to get right onto the wireless networks, we have AWS Wavelength, which embeds compute and storage capabilities directly inside the low latency networks of the 5G providers. So wherever you need to run your workloads, whether it is geographically distributed on our AWS regions, or whether you need to get closer and closer to your customers with low latency but high performance capabilities, AWS has a service for you. And so combined, there are some entirely new ways to build pretty much every application. And we hear from customers that they find building is easier, that cost is lower, and that the speed of execution is far faster. And if lower costs are the sizzle of the cloud, then speed and agility is the steak that keeps customers coming back time and again. And the result of all of this is that reinvention is happening in the cloud across virtually every industry. And we've seen this in media and entertainment, we've seen it in manufacturing and industry, travel, hospitality, you name it. And no matter which industry we look at, there isn't a digital transformation story that isn't instantiated, driven, or accelerated by data inside that organization.
好的，看完 Dr. Van Wu 他的第二段。